Hi guys, Canadian Hunter here. I decided I wanted to do some more testing at closer ranges now with my Savage Mark II TR. I had picked up some CCI Quiet 22lrs, and I was really intrigued by these. I wanted to try them out and see how they shoot. I was skeptical whether they would be decent or not. I mean, I knew they'd be probably pretty good at 25 yards, maybe out to 50, but these ones are moving at 710 feet per second. The other thing I did do is I was curious how loud are they, so I did some testing. I've got like a decibel meter on my iPhone, and from what I can tell, I mean, they are really quiet. I mean, it was reporting somewhere between 65 and 68 decibels at the peak point of every shot. So definitely extremely quiet. So I guess if you take it from the point of view of you've got some youngsters, or you're shooting in maybe an environment that you got neighbors or something, where you can have loud ammo. I mean, that's probably a really good choice. But you're going to see in a second, though, what I came up with accuracy, and preliminary results seem pretty good. And that's really the tale of how these things shoot. So, you're going to get 2, 3 really good shots, and then all of a sudden you get either a really low shot or a really high shot. So they don't seem to be loaded as consistently. I guess it could be, maybe how much powder CCI is putting in them. I don't know what they have to do to get them this slow and this quiet. Obviously, they use a lot less powder, but maybe it's such a small amount that even just a tiny bit makes a big difference. But some groups, so I went to the range over the last couple of days, and I've been doing just some shooting. I did some, last night with both CCI Quiet and with some CCI Standard Velocity, both at 25 yards and at 50 yards. I didn't really make any sheets of it, other than I did keep my sheet for my 50-yard Standard Velocity last night. That one I did keep, and then today I did 150 rounds. So I did a whole box of CCI Quiet at 25 yards. Then I did a whole box, so 50 pack of CCI Standard Velocity at 25 yards, and then I moved on for my final box, and I did CCI Standard Velocity at 50 yards. And then the reason I did that too is I really wanted to compare between what I did yesterday and what I can do today, because every time you go, I mean, you're going to get different results. But this is what I came up with CCI quiet ammo. So as you can see, so I've measured out all of my shots here at 25 yards. So, just under ½ inch, around an inch, 3/4 inch, a little bit better than 3/4 inch. And the way I shoot these is I always start at my left, move right, center, bottom, left. Last one is the right one. But all of these are telling the same story, which is, here's a ½ inch group. And this one, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots in this area. The one shot here that looks like it's a part of this group is actually from this center group. I had a wild flyer that jumped up and went right at the edge of that group. So that was actually not a very good group at all. My worst group was down here, I think. But this is sort of the tale of CCI Quiet. This is what you seem to get. You get, some ½ inch groups at 25 yards. You get some 1 inch groups at 25 yards. And it all just seems to come down to the ammo. Moving on, now where's my other one? So this is CCI Standard Velocity at 25 yards. As we can see, the groups are much better, more consistent. This was interesting. So this group here, so this was my first group after shooting 50 rounds of CCI Quiet. And I made a note of this, the first shot I made after CCI Quiet was this flyer. And I was wondering whether, there was something. When you look at the CCI standard velocity bullets, they have a lot of sort of wax on them, and the CCI quiets don't seem to have that. So I was curious if that was something to do with the fact that I'd shot a bunch of different bullets and then transitioned to the standard velocities. But, if I was to eliminate that flyer, that was a 1/4 inch at 25 yards. That's fantastic. Next group was, just under half, just around a 1/2 inch. Again, another great group, 3/4 inch. No, sorry, that's just below a 1/2. 3/4 inch here, half, just beyond half. Another great group here. So I'm getting into my last groups, and great group. My last group was right here, and I guess I didn't measure that out, but that's quarter inch. So if you look at the two, I mean, massive difference between the CCI quiets and standard velocity. Same gun, same day, half hour apart. Sitting at the exact same bench, and I was really just shocked at how much better the CCI, or I guess how much more consistent CCI standard velocity was. Because there's some shots with the quiet that look like maybe it would be okay, but so then I move on to 50 yards. This was the one that I did last night, so still pretty good. I mean, we got 1/2 inch at 50. Just beyond a 1/2, less than a 1/2, 1 inch group. So I don't know what happened there. Not a great shot at all. 1/2, 1 inch again, beyond. I don't know what was happening here. That's a lot of horizontal stringing. And I have to admit, last night it was getting kind of dark, and I was really pushing this last group to get this in before the range was close. So I'm going to make a bunch of excuses here. But, as I was getting towards the end, the shot's just getting worse, and it was really just getting dark out. But that's why I wanted to shoot this final group today to see, is it different? Perfect conditions today. Nice temperature. Everything was just perfect about today. And again, here's a first shot situation, flyer. Wasn't sure what was happening there, and then everything else tightened up after that. Bit of a flyer here, I guess, but I wouldn't say this group has less dramatic numbers compared to last night's. But if you eliminate these bottom groups, which really was, I could barely see the target at this point. Last night, I would say, I guess I had a pretty good run, but that's sort of, I guess, what you can expect out of CCI standard velocity on average. I mean, I would say that 50 yards, if you're shooting 1/2 to 1 inch, so what is that? That's 1 to 2 minutes of angle. That's really, I guess, what it's coming down to. I wish these were my groups at 100 yards. And, I could go out and do 100-yard groups, but I think we all know what's going to happen, which is that those groups are just going to open up. I mean, that's just what they're going to do. So if you look at the difference between, which one here? This was today's. So today's 50 and today's 25. That's the reality, is that every time you go another double the distance, your groups just keep getting bigger, obviously. And I've had some guns where, some center fire guns, like my 223, it's a beautiful gun, and, I'll shoot groups at, at 100 yards, and I'm getting, great groups. I go to 200 yards. Groups aren't getting dramatically worse. I mean, they're staying not quite as good, but they're definitely not opening up as much. But I guess that's the reality of 22 ammo. So anyway, that's my results, I guess. I want, with some CCI standard velocity and some CCI quiets. Definitely I'm not going to recommend quiets unless you really want some quiet ammo. CCI standard velocity, for what I'm paying for these, I was considering doing some green tag, but I'm paying $5 a box for these. for 50, so call that $10 per 100. For me to buy green tag in Canada here where I live, it's pretty much $30 per 100. So can I justify 3 times the money? Will some of those flyers go away? Maybe, but for $5 a box, I mean, I think a guy's doing pretty good. The only other video I might make is I might do some 50 yards with mini mags just to see. I mean, from what I've tested previously, I would say the mini mags are very, very close to CCI standard velocity. I thought when I first was shooting standard velocity that my groups were better, but the more I've been shooting the standard velocity, it's that same thing. I mean, you'll get some crazy groups, and then all of a sudden you get some wild groups. I mean, either way, it's so if you guys can recommend some ammo that I can try, I mean, that's the reality. This is sort of my, I'm really trying to find out, what ammo is going to be the most consistent 22 ammo. It frustrates me because I reload and I'm used to more consistency. And I mean, I love shooting 22. It's super, super fun. But, when you start shooting groups like these and you start really measuring them out, I mean, it's a bit of an addiction. I mean, you start to really get to this, this path of how can I, shrink my groups as much as I can. And I mean, I think it's a really difficult thing to do with 22, but anyway, so if you guys can recommend some ammo, I mean, you also got to remember too, it's what I can get here in Canada, but feel free to recommend in the comment section some ammo you think I could try. And if I can get the ammo locally, I'll test it and I'll see what it can do in this gun. I mean, same gun, same situation. So we'll see what we can do. Anyway, if you like this video, please click the like button and please click subscribe. I mean, I'm going to keep building this channel, and hunting season is coming up now and in the next month or so here. So I'm going to be doing some videos. I might do like a video of most people I'm sure, have taken a scope off of their hunting gun and have used it on other guns. So I'm going to do sort of a quick, how to drop a scope, which has been on a different gun on your hunting gun, and how to get, your 1 to 200 yard zero within, let's say, 10 shots or something. But anyway, like I say, click the subscribe button if you want to see more of these videos. And until next time.